Good afternoon, everybody. You are listening to Lake Stevens Vikings Varsity Baseball. My name is Payne Patchett, and this is game number 5 of the 2018 varsity baseball season as the Lake Stevens Vikings play their first road game in a week against the Cascade Bruins. The Vikings are in a little bit of a slump right now, currently with 1 win and 4 losses. One of those 4 losses being against the Cascade Bruins back on Wednesday, March 28th. They were up 1-0. And later lost a lead and lost a game by a score of 2-1 in the 7th inning. It's their second straight game in which they had leads going into the 7th inning and later blew it by letting the other team score. Lake Stevens, considering that they are going to be the road team, let's hope that this happens again, but it goes towards the Vikings, as they'll be starting Justin Troya, who is searching for his first varsity win of his career. He is 0-1 currently with an ERA of 10.24, while the Bruins will be starting Brett Gillis, who pitched in the 7th inning of Wednesday's game and later got the save, leaving a runner on first base. When we come back, it'll be the top of the 1st inning. Lake Stevens will be coming up to the plate. We'll be announcing the lineups, and we'll get this game started here in sunny Everett, Washington. And we are back here for the top of the 1st inning here for the first conference road game for the Lake Stevens Vikings playing against the Cascade Bruins. Starting on the mound for the Brew Crew is number 7, Brett Gillis. He was pitching for the Bruins in the 7th inning of Wednesday's game, allowing 1 hit and no earned runs. The first pitch to the leadoff hitter, Trey Long, upstairs for a ball 1. Josh White, the Lake Stevens manager, making a change in the lineup. The 1-0 pitch, foul ball. Just a slight lineup change, putting Trey Long in the leadoff spot for the first time in his varsity career, and moving Ben Pizer down the number 2 spot, the 1-1. Strike 2 looking for 1 ball and 2 strikes. Trey Long coming in with a .364 batting average, 4 hits and 11 at-bats, highlighted by 2 doubles, has been walked 7 times and has scored 3 runs. And the 1-2 pitch, a fly ball, foul territory, and the first baseman, Brock Gillis, making a running catch towards the fence in foul territory for the first down. And it'll bring up the next batter, Ben Pizer, making his first start in the number 2 spot for the first time in his varsity career. And Brett Gillis, this is his 3rd game of the year, his 2nd start. First pitch under the strike zone for a ball 1. Ben Pizer with a .421 batting average coming into this game, 8 hits in 19 at-bats with 1 double. Has hit the team's only triple. And the 1-0 pitch. It'll go right down the middle for a strike 1. 1 triple. It's been walked 4 times. Has scored 6 runs. This one, a ground ball to the third baseman, Jacob Sesso. Throw to first, and 1 hopper, and it gets past the glove of the first baseman, Brock Gillis, and the Vikings have a runner on. There's a soft throw from the sophomore third baseman, Jacob Sesso. It was a couple of hops before it got near the glove of the first baseman, Brock Gillis, but it got past him, and Ben Pizer now at first base, and it brings up the third baseman, Connor Bardou. First pitch, foul chopper. Goes straight towards right near the Cascade dugout. Connor Bardou with a team-high .538 batting average with 7 hits and 13 at-bats, which includes hitting the only home run so far for the Vikings, with a team-high 5 RBIs, and is 2 for 2 in stolen bases, with both stolen bases coming back on Wednesday. The 0-1, outside, ball 1. He's also been hit twice and has scored 5 runs for the Vikings. Brett looking over towards his little brother at first base, the 1-1. Line drive ball. This one getting into the gap in right center. Pizer going towards third base. Bardou's running towards second. Pizer's looked like he was riding around third, but the third base coach, Dan Novak, stops Pizer at third, and Connor Bardou has a 1-out double, and the Vikings have runners in scoring position. Is Connor's first double of the year, his first extra base hit. Not his first extra base hit, but his first double of the year. It gets by the right fielder, Sam Barnes, as it goes into right center field. First pitch to the center fielder, Christian LaPierre, foul tip. As he has a chance to get a couple of runs on the board for the Vikings. The 0-1 pitch. And strike two looking. Getting Brett with the curveball. Brett Gillis, a record of 1-0 with an ERA of 0. This is his third game and his second start. Swing and a miss, strike three. Brett getting Christian swinging for the second out of the first inning. And it'll bring up the shortstop, Theron Perkins, who comes into this game with a .286 batting average, 4 hits and 14 at-bats, and 2 RBIs, and has been walked 3 times. First pitch, a foul tip. Rest of the lineup. It is Long, Pizer, Bardu, LaPierre, and Perkins. At the 6th spot is Will Wentz. At the 7th spot is Bryce Mefford, who is the designated hitter for the starting pitcher for the Vikings, number 12, Justin Troya. The right fielder, Tanner Lind, and the second baseman, Hunter Zalesko. Next pitch, down and away, ball 1. Brett Gillis, his third game, his second start. He has thrown 6 innings, has allowed 2 hits, no runs. Has walked 3 and has struck out 11 batters in 6 innings. The 1-1, foul chopper. 1 ball and 2 strikes. Defensively for Cascade on the mound is Brett Gillis, and behind the plate is Nicholas Klemp once again. On the infield is Jacob Sesso at third. Carson Metcalf, this time playing at shortstop. He was playing at first base on Wednesday. Ben Hansen at second, and Brock Gillis at first base. And the 1-2 pitch by Brett upstairs, ball 2. And the outfield is the same from Wednesday. Zach Gill playing left field. Jaden Talt, the sophomore, playing at center. And Sam Barnes playing at right. The 2-2. Check swing. Ball 3. That one, a really close pitch right there. Theron Perkins check swing at that one, and it brings up to a full count. And Brett getting the sign from Clem. The payoff pitch. Fly ball, this one. Going into right field, Barnes running for it. This one getting over the head of Sam Barnes and Jaden Talt. 2 runs will score. Theron going to third base. It's a 2-run triple for Theron Perkins. Theron and getting a 2-run triple, scoring Connor from second base and Ben from third easily. As both Sam Barnes and Jaden Talt were playing in short right center. As the ball got over both their heads, they were both running for it. And next thing you know, they were both running towards the fence. First pitch. And the first pitch, a ball 1 to Will Wentz. Next one, swing and a miss. And the next pitch, swing and a miss, strike 2. Theron with RBIs number 3 and 4 on the year. His first triple, second triple for the team. And his 5th hit. And the 1-2 pitch, strike 3 called. It's Brett Gillis getting Will Wentz looking to end the top of the first inning, but the damage has been done. 2 runs on 2 hits, 1 error, and 1 runner left on. Lake Stevens strikes first off of Brett Gillis with a 2-0 Lake Stevens lead, as the Vikings will start off with Justin Troya, aiming to get his first varsity win of his career as he faces the center fielder Jaden Talt, the catcher Nicholas Klepp, and the pitcher Brett Gillis, the same 1-2-3 back on Wednesday. And we are now back in the bottom of the first inning. Justin Troya throwing the first pitch to the center fielder Jaden Talt. It gets past the starting catcher Trey Long. The Vikings striking first early with a 2-0 lead, highlighted by a 2-run triple by the junior shortstop Theron Perkins. Justin Troya on the mound, facing off against the center fielder Jaden Talt. The 1-0 pitch upstairs for a ball 2. Justin Troya coming into this game, he is 0-1 with an ERA of 10.24, making his 3rd start of the year. And the 2-0 pitch, strike 1, looking right down the middle to the sophomore center fielder Jaden Talt with a .400 batting average, has been walked twice, has scored 1 run, and has struck out once, and has an RBI to his name. The 2-1 by Troya, foul, and a foul ball goes over the Cascade bleachers. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Justin Troya, 3 games in his 3rd game, in his 3rd start. He has thrown 4 1/3 innings, has allowed 4 hits, has allowed 6 earned runs, has walked 7 batters, and has struck out 4 batters. And the 2-2 pitch from Troya upstairs, ball 3 to Trey Long. The lineup for the Cascade Bruins, very similar to back on Wednesday. Jaden Talt at center field, Nicholas Klemp catching, and Brett Gillis, the pitcher, at the number 3 spot. Jacob Sesso, the cleanup hitter. And the payoff pitch outside for a ball 4, and Cascade has a runner on with a leadoff walk for Jaden Talt. And it'll bring up the number 2 hitter, the starting catcher, Nicholas Klemp. Comes into this game with a .263 batting average, 5 hits and 19 at-bats. He has been walked twice, he has struck out 3 times, and it's been hit once, and he has no extra base hits this season. Throw to first, not in time. Lineup is Jaden Talt, Nicholas Klemp, and Brett Gillis. The cleanup hitter is the third baseman, Jacob Sesso. At the 5 spot once again, this time playing at first base rather than pitching, is Brock Gillis, number 6. And the first pitch is low and inside, ball 1. The 6th hitter, the left fielder, Zach Gill. The right fielder, Sam Barnes. The second baseman, Ben Hansen. And this time it's the shortstop, Carson Metcalf. He is playing over there instead of first base. And the 1-0 pitch hits the top part of the strike zone for a strike 1, looking 1 ball and 1 strike. There's a defensive lineup for Lake Stevens. On the mound is Justin Troya, and behind the plate is Trey Long. In the infield, Connor Barty at third, Theron at shortstop, Hunter Zalesko at second base, and Will Wentz at first. The 1-1 upstairs. Trey to throw to second. Did he get him? Yes, he did. Trey Long getting Jaden Talt out at second base. And the ball was caught by the second baseman, Hunter Zalesko, who was steamrolled by Jaden after he got the ball. And now will be the first out of the bottom of the first inning. And the pitch was called a ball, so with the 2-1 count upstairs, ball 3. And on the outfield, Ben Pizer at left, Christian LaPierre at center, and Tanner Lind at right. Bryce Mefford DHing for Troya. And the 3-1 pitch, foul ball. Going over the fence behind home plate for a full count, 3-2. And the reserves for Cascade, a couple of new guys. We have Maximo Willis, who wasn't a reserve in Wednesday's game at Lake Stevens High School, but was a reserve for Cascade last year. The payoff pitch, line drive ball, going to center field. Christian going back, making the catch for the second out of the first inning. It'll bring up the starting pitcher, Brett Gillis. Gillis coming in with a .389 batting average, 7 hits and 18 at-bats with 2 RBIs to his name, and leads the team with 4 stolen bases. First pitch upstairs, ball 1. This also has hit 3 doubles, has hit the team's only triple this year, has been hit once, has been walked 4 times, and has even struck out once. And his ball 2 upstairs. As it was Maximo Willis, Stephen Maynard, Zach Holsopple, Jackson Ramstead. These are guys that were playing for Cascade's JV team on Wednesday and were not with the varsity roster. The 2-0 pitch goes outside for a ball 3. Other reserves include Dakota Talt, Gage Davis, Gatlin Griffith, Zach Holsopple, Brody Larson, and Drew Swartz. And the 3-0 pitch right down the middle for a strike 1 looking. Brett Gillis. And the 3-1, a line drive ball going into right center. Tanner going back, and it gets off the glove of the right fielder, Tanner Lind. Brett going to second base, and he'll get to second on an error by the right fielder, Tanner Lind. As he'll bring up the cleanup hitter, Jacob Sesso, to third baseman. It'll be a pinch runner for the pitcher, Brett Gillis, and that'll be number 4, Stephen Maynard. Maynard, he was also a member of last year's varsity team. He was the He was a reserve in the first game where the Vikings won 1-0. In the second game, he was the starting second baseman, but had a designated hitter hit for him. That'll be Jacob Sesso, who has a .278 batting average, 5 hits, and 18 at-bats on the year. He was also 0 for 2 in Wednesday's game. First pitch, swing, and a miss, strike one. Troya getting the sign for the catcher Trey Long, goes low for a ball one. Troya looking over at second, the pitch. That goes upstairs for a ball two. Sesso representing the game-tying run early in this game. Lake Stevens, their past couple of games have been heartbreakers. They've lost in the final couple innings of the game. 2-1 pitch low for a ball three.
You all right? So nice now.
They have the game back last Wednesday on March 24th against Edmonds Woodway. They were up 4-3 and lost 5-4. Foul ball goes over to Lake Stevens bleachers, bringing in another full count for Justin Troya. And this one with 2 outs in the first inning, it could change the dynamic early in this game. And the payoff pitch, upstairs, ball four. Cascade has runners on first and second. They'll bring up the number 5 hitter, the first baseman, Brock Gillis. Timeout by Lake Stevens. Trey going over to the mound. This game is here a pretty partly cloudy day here, Saturday, March 31st, 2018. This game was supposed to be played on Friday, March 30th, but instead, due to some early morning rain, field was deemed unplayable, and instead the junior varsity team ended up playing a doubleheader at Lake Stevens High School. And that was the only action that the Lake Stevens Vikings baseball team saw on Friday, and the game was moved to today at 1 o'clock. Brock Gillis with a team-high .545 batting average with 6 hits and 11 at-bats. He has hit 2 doubles, has walked 3 batters, and has struck out 2. So this is a guy that Cascade would absolutely love to have at the plate right now. First pitch, strike one looking. Also has 2 RBIs to his name and is 1 for 1 in stolen bases. 0-1 pitch upstairs for a ball one. For Cascade, this is game number 7 for them on the year. For the Vikings, it is game number 5. And the 1-1 pitch, a fly ball. This goes in foul territory. Will Wentz goes in as he was under the ball in foul territory and will end up not making the catch. So it'll be the second error for Lake Stevens in this inning. It is now 1 ball and 2 strikes. And the 1-2 pitch. Fly ball, another chance. This one going in the right field. Tanner going for it, making the catch. And it will end the Cascade threat. It is too close for comfort for Lake Stevens as the inning is over. It is no runs on no hits, 2 errors, and 2 runners left on. It is still a 2-0 Lake Stevens lead as Brett will come back to the mound. We'll be facing the bottom half of the order. Bryce Mefford, Tanner Lind, and Hunter Zalesko in the top of the second inning. 2-0 Vikings. And we are now back into the top of the second inning. Lake Stevens, after scoring 2 runs in the top of the first inning, barely gets out of a jam in the bottom of the first inning and is able to let them keep their 2-0 lead. Brett Gillis On the mound once again, he'll be facing off against the designated hitter Bryce Mefford. First pitch is a strike one looking. And the 0-1 pitch, swing and a miss, strike two. Brett Gillis, 7 balls, 16 strikes on 23 pitches, 2 runs on 2 hits, 1 error, and 1 runner left on. Is a 2-0 Lake Stevens lead. That was the last time he was up in the top of the first inning. The 0-2 pitch by Brett. Strike 3 called, and Bryce Mefford. From those 3 pitches, it looked like it was too quick for him. It is strikeout number 3 for Brett. To bring up the number 8 hitter, the right fielder, Tanner Lind. First pitch from Brett. Hard hit ball, laced right near the left field line, but it will lean foul. Goes for an 0-1 count. Tanner with the .091 batting average with 1 hit and 11 at-bats. Has been used as a pinch runner occasionally for the Vikings when he is not in the lineup, and has scored 4 runs in the process because of it. And the 0-1 pitch by Brett. Swing and a miss, strike 2. And Brett, the 0-2. Line drive, grounder going to the shortstop. Carson Metcalf, throw to first. Did he get him in time? Yes, he did. They'll go for the second out of the second inning. Brings up the number 9 hitter, Hunter Zalesko, the sophomore second baseman. He comes into this game with a .267 batting average with 4 hits and 15 at-bats with 3 RBIs. In the process, he was 0 for 2 in the walk in Wednesday's game. First pitch, a foul ball. He'll go over the fence. The reserves for Lake Stevens, Devin McWaters, Jacob Gordon, and the 0-1 pitch outside for a ball 1. There's Devin McWaters, Jacob Gordon, Alec Ibachuan, Tommy Lindgren, Bailey Corley, Tate Bruss, Jacob Wardla, 1-1 pitch low for a ball 2. And Aaron Lampinen, first time we've heard his name in a while. He's been playing for the junior varsity team to get better to go up here. The 2-1 pitch, a short grounder to the second baseman, Ben Hansen, for the third out of the second inning. No runs, no hits, no errors, and nobody left on. Lake Stevens still with a 2-0 lead as it goes to the bottom of the second inning. Justin Troya facing the 6, 7, and 8 batters of Zach Gill, Sam Barnes, and Ben Hansen. In the bottom of the second inning, 2-0 Lake Stevens. And we are now back to the bottom of the second inning. Lake Stevens still with a 2-0 lead over Cascade. With the Bruins aiming to respond here in the second inning. Justin Troya facing the left fielder Zach Gill. First pitch, hard hit ball going into center field. Christian running for it. Christian going back, and it gets over the head of Christian LaPierre. Zach going to second base, and it'll be a leadoff double for Zach Gill, the left fielder. And Cascade starts off strong in the second inning. And it'll bring up the right fielder, Sam Barnes, currently with a .412 batting average, 7 hits, and 17 at-bats for the Bruins. 3 doubles, has been walked twice, and has struck out 4 times, and has the team-high 6 RBIs. Bottom of the second. Troya, first pitch. Strike 1, looking in the top part of the strike zone. Justin Troya with a rough first inning, 15 balls on 12 strikes for 23 pitches with no runs, no hits, 2 errors, and 2 runners left on in the first inning. Troya, the 0-1 fly ball, leading towards foul territory. It'll hit the top of the Lake Stevens dugout. No balls and 2 strikes. And one of the benefits of having a game played on Saturday is that you can look at some of the games that have been played on Friday, see how teams have done, especially in conference play. But the first game I want to talk about is arguably the game of the week in the Westco Conference. It was a game that was played back on Friday, if I had to say. Thursday, I had to guess. It was between Arlington and Edmonds Woodway. The 0-2 upstairs, ball one. It was a rematch of the 3A state quarterfinals that was played over at Mount Vernon, where Edmonds Woodway won 8-7. So Arlington, they were up 3-2 going into the top of the 7th inning. Edmonds Woodway scored 3 runs to take a 5-3 lead. But Arlington would score 3 runs of their own to win 6-5. The pitch, fly ball to right field. Tanner making the catch. Zach running towards third base, and Cascade has a runner at third. And it'll bring up the second baseman, Ben Hansen, 4 hits and 14 at-bats with a .286 batting average and 2 RBIs to his name, and he is 0 for 1 on stolen bases. And that Arlington-Edmonds Woodway game is important because it was a rematch of a state playoff game between 2 really, really good 3A teams. First pitch, swing and a miss, strike 1. But apart from that game, let's look at some of the conference games that were played first. Some games that were played while Lake Stevens played Cascade at Lake Stevens High School. There was Mariner playing Monroe, which ended in a 10-run win for Monroe. The 0-1 pitch inside for a ball 1. It was Jackson shutting out Glacier Peak 2-0, and Kamiak beating the Mount Vernon Bulldogs 4-1. And the 1-1 pitch upstairs for a ball 2. And Monroe, it's Monroe, Cascade, Jackson. Those are some teams you have to look at because they have some pretty young talent, and they're possible that those are some teams that can go into the tournament. The 2-1 pitch, swing, and a miss, strike 2 from the senior Justin Troya. And on Friday, while Lake Stevens and Cascade wasn't played, it's this game and Kamiak traveling up north to play Mount Vernon. Those 2 games are going to be played today. 2-2 upstairs, ball 3. There'll be another full count, 3-2 for Justin Troya. As he faced 3 of them back in the first inning. The payoff pitch, line drive ball. This one getting it to the hole in center field, and Cascade gets their first run on the board on a RBI single by Ben Hansen, and it's a 2-1 Lake Stevens lead. That'll bring up the number 9 hitter, Carson Metcalf, the shortstop. 3 hits and 8 at-bats with a .375 batting average. It includes 1 double and 1 walk. Justin looking over at first. First pitch, hard hit ball. This one going into center field. Christian, he is under it. And Christian LaPierre makes the catch for the second out of the second inning. They'll go back to the top of the order for Jaden Talt. It is Ben Hansen's 3rd RBI of the year. Jaden Talt back in the first inning. He was walked on a full count. And on a 1-1 pitch to Nick Kleb, Trey Long gunned him out at second. And the next pitch going to right field. First pitch going to the right fielder, Tanner Lind, right near the right field line. And that will end the second inning. But Cascade gets a run on the board. 1 run on 2 hits, no errors. 1 runner left on. It is now a 2-1 Lake Stevens lead as the Vikings will come back up to the plate in the top of the 3rd inning. And we are now back at the top of the 3rd inning. Lake Stevens trying to increase their lead over Cascade after the Bruins trimmed it 2-1. First pitch to the leadoff hitter, Trey Long, outside for a ball 1. And Brett with a pretty good second inning. 2 balls and 8 strikes and 10 pitches. The 1-0 downstairs for a ball 2. There's 2 balls, 8 strikes for 10 pitches. Total of 9 balls, 24 strikes on 33 pitches. A fly ball. That's in foul territory. It is the first baseman, Brock Gillis, and the catcher, Nicholas Klepp, running near the Lake Stevens dugout to make the catch for the first out of the 3rd inning. Brings up Ben Pizer. And on a 1-1 pitch, Ben hit a soft grounder to the third baseman, Jacob Sesso, who threw a soft grounder himself to the first baseman Brock Gillis and got past his glove.
Let's go, Ben.
And the first pitch by Brett. And strike one looking on the first pitch. There were a couple of games on Friday that were played too. Jackson swept Glacier Peak 8-1, and Monroe swept Mariner 13-1 for another 10-plus run win against the Mariner Marauders. The 0-1 pitch outside and away for a ball one. The 1-1 to Brett. Outside ball two. And Brett, the 2-1 pitch. Chopper gets past the glove of Brett. Gets past the glove of the shortstop, Carson Metcalf, as he is right behind the second base bag. And the Vikings have a one-out single. And Pizer once again on the base paths, this time in the third inning. Brings up the number 3 hitter, Connor Bardew. He had a 1-1 pitch into the gap in right center field for a one-out double. The first pitch, strike one looking. Brett looking over at first base towards Ben. Fly ball, a short fly ball. This one going into center field. And it'll be the center fielder, Jaden Talt, moving forward a little bit to make the catch for the second out of the third inning. And it'll bring up Christian Lapierre, who struck out swinging on 3 pitches. And was Brett Gillis' first strikeout victim of the afternoon. Brett looking over at first pitch, fly ball. That one lacing right near left field, and it is caught and then dropped by the left fielder, Zach Gill, who tries throwing the third to try and get Ben and is not in time. It's another error by the Cascade Bruins. And it will move Christian to second. And once again, Theron Perkins is at the plate with a runner on second and third, as he has a chance to get a couple more runners on. First pitch by Brett. Strike one looking. And the 0-1 by Brett. Swing and a miss, strike two. There's a foul tip. Gets into the glove of the catcher, Nicholas Klemp. No balls, 2 strikes. Brett shaking off a couple of signs from Klemp. The 0-2. Foul tip. Or foul ball. A foul ball going over the fence behind home plate. Now, Cascade High School, very similar to Meadowdale. They have a place where you can buy, like, certain, like, there's like a concession stand there too. I just think it's really cool. Next pitch, ball one upstairs. Very similar to Meadowdale High School, where behind home plate there is a building that has a concession where you can buy food and water and stuff like that. 1-2 pitch. Another foul ball going over the fence behind home plate. And Brett, the 1-2. Swing and a miss, strike 3. Nicholas Klemp throwing to first base. And we'll get him out at the end of the top of the third. Strikeout number 4 for Brett Gillis, and no runs will score here. No runs on 1 hit, 1 error, and 2 runners left on. It is still a 2-1 Lake Stevens lead. Cascade trying to tie it here in the bottom of the third inning. Justin Troya facing Nicholas Klemp, Brett Gillis, and Jacob Sesso, the 2-3-4 hitters, as we go into the bottom of the third inning. We are now back into the bottom of the third inning. Lake Stevens still with a 2-1 lead over the Cascade Bruins, as they'll bring up their number 2 hitter, the catcher, Nicholas Klemp. First pitch outside for a ball 1. And Justin, although he had a pretty rough second inning, his pitching stats in the second inning doesn't really show it that much. The 1-0 pitch, a strike 1 looking. A nice pitch by Justin. 4 balls, 9 strikes, and 13 pitches in the second inning. That with a total of 19 balls, 21 strikes for a total of 40 pitches in the second inning, allowing 1 run, 2 hits, no errors, and 1 runner left on with a total of 1 run, 2 hits, 2 errors, and 3 runners left on. Next pitch low in the dirt for a ball 2. And the 2-1 by Justin, a hard hit ball left going to center field. Christian going back a little ways and makes the catch once again to get Nick out for the first out of the third inning. He caught Nicholas's fly ball back in the first inning for the second out of the first inning. He'll bring up the pitcher Brett Gillis, who got on base and got to second on an error by the right fielder Tanner Lind. First pitch upstairs, and a nice catch by the catcher Trey Long to reach up to make that catch. And the 1-0 by Justin goes under the strike zone for a ball 2. This is something that I said back on Wednesday about a couple of the 4A teams. This one, I'm going to talk about the Mariner Marauders. They were surprisingly really good going in the non-conference play. This one, a nice liner to the shortstop Theron Perkins. Throw to first, did he get him in time? Yes, he did. A nice recovery by the shortstop Theron Perkins. He gets in and out of his glove. He throws to first and gets Brett Gillis in time at first base for the second out of the third inning. Brings up the cleanup hitter, third baseman Jacob Sesso. Got on base back in the first inning on a full count walk. It was stranded over at first base in the first inning. And the first pitch by Justin. Upstairs, ball 1. The Mariner Marauders, they had a winning record in non-conference play, which is pretty surprising to see them get a winning record at all because they've had an average of 2 to 3 wins overall in the regular season. This one, a hard hit ball, gets over the head of the third baseman Connor Bardu, and Jacob Sesso with a 2-out single in the third inning. They'll bring up the first baseman Brock Gillis, who flew out to the right fielder Tanner Lind to end the first inning. And I made the educated guess that Mariner wasn't going to have that lucky non-conference streak as they did in conference play. First pitch, it will be a ball 1 in and out of the glove of Trey Long. Timeout by Lake Stevens. Josh White, the manager, going up to the mound. It's like Justin Troya pointing down on his back. Maybe he has a little bit of discomfort. Josh White going to talk to Justin about it. We had some action going on in the bullpen for Lake Stevens. Jacob Gordon was warming up. And it looks like Justin will stay in the game. He'll stay on the mound. Trey going back behind home plate. And it'll be my best guess that the Vikings will bring in Jacob Gordon to be the first pitcher in relief for Justin when he's done. Justin looking over at first. There was almost a balk there. The 1-0. Ball 2, a one-hopper to first base. And he is not able to get Jacob Sesso at first base. As Trey Long once again throws from his knees as he's done all year. And Justin getting the sign from Trey, looking over at first base. The 2-0. Chopper straight to Justin. Runs over the first. Tosses it to first base, and it'll end the third inning. No runs on 1 hit, no errors, and 1 runner left on. As Lake Stevens still with a 2-1 lead over the Cascade Bruins. As it goes to the top of the 4th inning. Brett Gillis still on the mound. He'll be facing the 6, 7, 8 hitters of Will, Bryce, and Tanner. As we go to the top of the 4th inning, you've been listening. You are listening to Lake Stevens Vikings Varsity Baseball. We are now back to the top of the 4th inning. Lake Stevens still with a 2-1 lead over the Cascade Bruins. Brett Gillis on the mound once again, trying to pitch his fourth full inning of work against the number 6 hitter Will Wentz, the starting first baseman, who struck out looking on 4 pitches his last time up. First pitch, low for a ball 1. And the 1-0 by Brett. Hard hit ball. This one going into center field. Center fielder Jaden Talt going back. And he makes the catch.
Hey, let's go, Bryce.
As he has to take a few steps backward to make that one. And it'll bring up the designated hitter Bryce Mefford, who struck out on 3 pitches his last time up. And so I said on Wednesday before the results of both Mariner and Monroe games that Mariner was not going to have a pretty good time in conference play. First pitch low for a ball 1. And the 1-0 foul ball hits the fence right in front of the Cascade bleachers for strike 1. 1 ball, 1 strike. And so far I was right as Mariner lost both games by 10 runs or more. The 1-1 pitch goes outside for a ball 2. And we'll see more from Mariner as they'll be the next team the Vikings will play. The 2-1 pitch, foul ball, goes over the Cascade dugout.
You're on it.
And right next to the batting cages, that's right behind the Cascade bleachers. 2 balls and 2 strikes.
Find some grass. Come now, babe.
Brett shaking off a couple of sides from Klepp again. The 2-2. Strike 3 called. As Brett strikes out Bryce for the second time. Strikeout number 5 for Brett Gillis on the afternoon. Brings up the right fielder Tanner Lind. And the first pitch by Brett. Fly ball, going out, foul. Third baseman Jacob Sesso and the shortstop Carson Metcalf both running for it. To no avail. Tanner Lind grounded out to the shortstop Metcalf back in the second inning. And the 0-1 by Brett. Hard hit ball going into left field. To the left fielder, Zach Gill, and he'll make the catch. It's another 1-2-3 inning in the bottom part of the order for Brett Gillis and Cascade. No runs, no hits, no errors, nobody left on. Still a 2-1 Lake Stevens lead as Justin Troya comes back on the mound for the bottom of the 4th inning, facing the 6, 7, 8 hitters once again of Zach Gill, Sam Barnes, and Ben Hansen, the same 3 hitters that were responsible for Cascade's only run back in the 2nd inning. And we are now back in the bottom of the 4th inning. Lake Stevens still with a 2-1 lead over Cascade. Justin Troya, he's thrown 42 pitches through 3 innings, but it looked like he's still going strong. And the first pitch to the left fielder, Zach Gill, gets in and out of the glove of the third baseman, Connor Bardu, on a slow grounder. And Cascade will get another runner on another error by Lake Stevens, their 3rd of the afternoon. And it'll bring up the right fielder, Sam Barnes. And Sam Barnes and a 1-2 pitch and a fly ball to the right fielder, Tanner Lind, for the first out, with Zach Gill still at second. First pitch, outside, ball 1. Justin Troya, 7 balls, 5 strikes on 12 pitches with a total of 26 balls, 26 strikes, and 42 pitches, allowing no runs, 1 hit, no errors, and 1 runner left on, with a total of 1 run, 3 hits, 2 errors, and 4 runners left on. And the pitch, a hard hit ball going in the right center field. Tanner going back. Tanner making the running catch. And a nice grab by the junior Tanner Lind. It'll move Zach back to first base. And it'll be the first out of the 4th inning. Brings up Ben Hansen, who hit a payoff pitch to dead central and center field for an RBI single, scoring Zach Gill from third base. And Justin looking over at first, throw to first, not in time.
Go, Justin. Go on, 2. Go 4 times 3.
Cascade, their next 5 games, they'll be playing the Glacier Peak Grizzlies. That is a team that was really good last year. Looked like they had poise on winning the Wesco title, which they didn't do. They lost to Lake Stevens. First pitch upstairs for a ball 1. And then later thought they had poise and enough power to win the state title. Unfortunately, they didn't do that. They lost in the first round on a walk-off double. But Glacier Peak, they lost a lot of players. They had to replace their guys. And currently they're going through a rocky season right now. And the 1-0 pitch, a foul ball, hits the fence behind home plate. Above the backstop for a strike 1, 1 ball, 1 strike. And Glacier Peak, it shows that this is going to be a rocky season for Bob Blair's team as they got swept by Jackson. Speaking of Jackson, after Glacier Peak, the Bruins are going to have to play the Jackson Timberwolves, see how good the Bruins really are. They're 5-1, beating both Kingco opponents in non-conference play. Or both Kingco 4A opponents they played. They beat Bothell 6-2 and Inglemore 4-2. The 1-1 pitch outside for a ball 1. In Kingco 4A conference, easily the toughest conference in the entire state of Washington. The 2-1. And upstairs ball 3. As Ben Hansen, the batter, is ahead on the count. And then Cascade will be playing the Monroe Bearcats. Jackson and Monroe are 2 teams that are expected to be really good. 3-1 pitch, upstairs ball 4. And Cascade has runners on first and second with one Cascade batter out. They'll bring up the number 9 hitter Carson Metcalf, who hit his first pitch in the fly ball to the center fielder Christian LaPierre.
Didn't even do the hard part. I was getting 100% on that.
Justin looking over at second. First pitch upstairs, ball 1. Timeout by Lake Stevens. Trey Long once again going up to the mound to talk to Justin Troya. Lake Stevens trying to respond against Cascade after what happened back on Wednesday. Lake Stevens was up 1-0 for most of the game, and then Cascade, after tying the game back in the 5th inning, they were able to take a 2-1 lead on a pretty smart play by Brett Gillis. He was between first and second with Brody Larson, who was pinch running for Nicholas Klepp at third base. Brett was caught in a rundown, allowing Brody to score without him getting out. The 1-0 pitch upstairs for a ball 2. And Cascade, they played a couple of pretty good non-conference games. They have a pretty tough non-conference schedule. Considering they came out of that non-conference schedule going 4-1, shows a lot of poise for this team this year. And the 2-0 pitch, foul ball, going over the fence for a strike 1. Showing a lot of poise. They started with a 1-run win here at Cascade High School against Everett. Then they went over on the road against a really tough Arlington team, beat them 8-6. And then they started playing against the Kingco opponents. They played against Bothell, beat them 6-2. They're a pretty solid team. Inglemore, they beat them 4-2. They're a pretty solid team too. The pitch, a grounder going to the third baseman Connor Bardu. Right in front of the third base bag. He's not able to touch the third base bag to get Gill out, but it will advance the runners. And now Cascade has runners on second and third with two out, and the leadoff hitter Jaden Talt coming to the plate. As the sophomore southpaw is 0 for 1. He was walked back in the first inning, but was gunned down by Trey Long at second base, and flew out to the right fielder Tanner Lind on the first pitch he saw back in the second inning. First pitch by Justin. One hopper to Trey. Nice job by the catcher Trey Long to get the ball in time. Runners will stay. Zach Gill is at third base, and Ben Hansen is at second base. The game-tying run is at third. The game-leading run is at second. The 1-0. Strike 1 looking. Mariners, one of a couple of teams that you need to really look at. Might not be that good this year. also including Kamiak, who also lost a lot of players. 1-1 pitch low for a ball 2. Kamiak, they lost a good 10-plus players. They were not good last year, and so far they don't look good this year. But that might all change, even though they won the first game against Mount Vernon with a really good junior pitcher in Riley Olmsted. And the 2-1 pitch is a strike 2 looking. A nice pitch by Justin. As he got him with a curveball out on the outside part of the strike zone to the southpaw. There's now 2 balls and 2 strikes. Justin could end this inning with one more pitch, the 2-2. Fly ball going into short left field. Ben running for it. Theron tried to catch it and he can't get it. 2 runs will score. And it'll be a 2-run bloop single by the leadoff hitter, Jaden Salt, and Cascade has a 3-2 lead. Looked like Ben was running for that one, but Theron had a lot of trouble trying to get that one. As both runs will score, Cascade will take the lead once again after the Vikings had the lead for a short amount of time. Timeout by Lake Stevens. Josh White looked like he might take Justin Troy out of the game. Bring it up as the catcher, Nicholas Kleb. He'll come out to the plate. Who was flown out to the center fielder. And, yep, they will take Justin Troy out of the game. They will bring in Jacob Gordon, who will be taking the mound once again. He'll take a break here at the bottom of the 4th inning. Cascade 3, Lake Stevens 2 with a runner on first and 2 outs with Nicholas Klepp on the plate at the plate for Cascade. And we are now back at the bottom of the 4th inning. Cascade just took a 3-2 lead over the Lake Stevens Vikings, and Josh White has just taken out his starting pitcher, Justin Troya, for number 18, Jacob Gordon, another senior making his 3rd game this year. First pitch.
Oh yeah!
And the first pitch to Nick Klemp. Trey throwing to second base. And once again, for the 2nd time this afternoon, getting Jaden Tull at second base, and that will end the inning right then and there. 2 runs on 1 hit, 1 error, and nobody left on. Cascade taking a 3-2 lead at the end of 4. As Brett Gillis looks like he might be coming back to the mound. And we'll let you know if we hear anything different. We go into the top of the 5th inning. It'll be a 9-1-2 of Hunter Zalesko, Trey Long, and Ben Pizer as the Vikings try to retake the lead in the top of the 5th inning. And we are now back into the top of the 5th inning. Lake Stevens now trailing Cascade by the score of 3-2, highlighted by a 2-out single by Jaden Salt. Brett Gillis has thrown 58 pitches through 4 innings. He is still on the mound facing the 9-hitter Hunter Zalesko. First pitch of ball 1. This next one going into center field to the center fielder Jaden Salt. And it will get him for the first out of the 5th inning. And it will now go back to the leadoff spot for the 3rd time today. It will be Trey Long, who is 0 for 2 with a fly out to the shortstop, Carson Metcalf, and a foul pop out to the catcher, Nicholas Klemp. First pitch is strike 1 looking. And the 0-1, low for a ball 1 in the dirt. And the next 5 games for the Lake Stevens Vikings will be playing the Mariner Marauders starting on April 4th. The 1-1 pitch, swing and a miss, strike 2. And we'll be playing at Mariner High School in Everett on April 4th. And then at home on April 6th against the Marauders. And the 1-2 pitch on top of the strike zone for a ball 2. And then the next 2 games after that, the Kamiak Knights on April 11th at Kamiak and on April 13th at home. Check swing, did he go? Yes, he did. Throw to first. And it will be strikeout number 6 on the afternoon for Brett Gillis. It'll bring up the 2nd out of the 5th inning. Brings up the number 2 hitter, Ben Pizer, who has been one of the few top contributors for the Vikings in this game. First pitch, strike one looking. He got on base on an error by the third baseman, Jacob Sesso, and scored one of 2 runs in the first inning, and then had a base hit in the third. It was stranded at third base. The 0-1 pitch, foul, chopper, going towards the Lake Stevens dugout for an 0-1 count. And after the Kamiak game, it'll be Mount Vernon. And the 0-2 pitch, a one-hopper. Throw to first base, it'll be in time, and Brett Gillis looking masterful on the mound, especially in the past few innings, recovering from that monstrous first inning that allowed the 2 runs for the Vikings. And with Cascade getting the lead, it doesn't look like anything might be changing anytime soon. No runs, no hits, no errors, and nobody left on. It is still a 3-2 Cascade lead. Jacob Gordon going back on the mound for the 5th inning. Be facing once again Nicholas Klem, Brett Gillis, and Jacob Sesso, the 2, 3, 4 hitters for the Cascade Bruins. We are now back in the bottom of the 5th inning. Cascade trying to increase their 1-run lead over Lake Stevens after getting their first lead of the game in the last inning. First pitch to Nicholas Klem, a one-hopper to Trey Long. And Justin Troya, he's thrown 4 2/3 innings, 4 hits, has allowed 3 runs, with only 1 being earned. Both runs in the 4th inning were unearned, walking 3 batters, striking out no one in 60 pitches. And the 1-0 pitch, a strike one looking. It is currently online for the second loss. And the 1-1 pitch, a foul chopper going towards the Cascade dugout. 1 ball and 2 strikes. And Cascade, I think it's one of those teams where you don't really know how powerful they are until they actually need to show it. The 1-2 pitch going into center field. Christian moving into right center, making the catch. As that will be the third, as all 3 at-bats by Nicholas Kleps have been fly balls to center field, caught by Christian LaPierre. As we'll now bring up to Brett Gillis, who is 0 for 1 with a ground out to the shortstop Theron Perkins. First pitch by Jacob, inside, ball 1. As here's the West Coast standings right now. Jackson and Monroe currently are the only 2 teams undefeated at 2-0, and currently are going to be first place. And the 1-0 pitch, strike one looking to Brett. Currently Cascade and Kamiak both 1-0. Cascade, they beat Lake Stevens. This one, a grounder to Connor Bardew. Throw to first base is in time for the second out. A nice throw. A nice pick on the grounder by Connor Bardew, and a nice throw from the hot corner to get Brett out at first base for the second out of the 5th inning. And it'll bring up Jacob Sesso, who was walked and got a base hit. It'll be Cascade and Kamiak. They're currently both 1-0. Cascade beat Lake Stevens. Kamiak somehow beat Mount Vernon. I would have picked the Bulldogs to win any day over a struggling Kamiak team. First pitch under the strike zone for a ball 1. Lake Stevens and Mount Vernon, currently the 2 teams that are 0-1. And Glacier Peak and Mariner, currently both 2 teams that are 0-2. And the 1-0 pitch, low and outside for a ball 2. And the 2-0 by Jacob. In the dirt, ball 3. Jacob Gordon making his 3rd appearance. No wins, no losses with an ERA of 0. 3-0 pitch in the dirt, ball 4. Cascade has a runner on first with 2 outs. Brings up the 5-hitter Brock Gillis, who is 0 for 2 on the night. Jacob looking over at first base. And the pitch. And upstairs, ball one. Barely. Brock Gillis, he is 0 for 2. He flew out to the right fielder, Tanner Lind, and he grounded out to the pitcher, Justin Troya, in the third inning. It's showing us, not really showing us why he has a .545 batting average coming into this game. And the 1-0 pitch inside, ball 2. As the Cascade dugout and bleachers started cheering after that pitch. Throw to first is not in time to try and get the third baseman, Jacob Sesso. Jacob Gordon making his third appearance this season. No wins, no losses with an ERA of 0. He has no earned runs in 2 2/3 innings. And the 2-0 pitch is a strike one looking to Brock.
Smells like a strike.
He has 2 2/3 innings, allowing 4 hits and striking out 3 on the year. And the 2-1 pitch by Jacob. Outside, ball 3. And the pitch.
Oh, yeah.
And it's a strike 2 looking. A check swing by Brock. He thought it was a ball 4. As he tosses his bat towards the Cascade dugout. It'll be a full count 3-2. Yeah, there's one thing I've noticed when you broadcast baseball for a while. You know that the umpire does not like when the batter assumes that it's a ball 4. Seen it multiple times, and have seen it a few times where it doesn't really end well. Payoff pitch, a foul chopper going towards the Cascade dugout. And Jacob looking over at first base. The payoff pitch, ground ball. This one getting into the glove of Theron. Throw to first in time for the third out. No runs, no hits, no errors, and 1 runner left on. As that will end the 5th inning. The first full inning for Jacob Gordon is still a 3-2 Cascade lead. Brett Gillis going to be back on the mound once again in the 6th inning, facing Connor Bardou, Christian LaPierre, and Theron as they go into the top of the 6th inning. 3-2 Cascade. We are now back into the top of the 6th inning. Lake Stevens trailing 3-2. They're facing off against Brett Gillis, who has thrown 68 pitches through 5 innings. Has been impressive on the mound in the last few innings. In particular, the first pitch to the third baseman, Connor Bardou, low and in the dirt. Ball 1. Connor Bardou 1 for 2 with a double and a run scored. And the 1-0 pitch, strike 1 looking. And Brett getting the side from Nicholas Klepp once again. The hard hit ball going to center field. Jaden Talt going back. Jaden Talt going backwards, and it gets over the head of Talt. Bardou going to second base, and it'll be a leadoff double, and the Vikings have the game-tying run at second base. Before today, he didn't even have an extra base hit other than the solo home run he hit against Linwood, but now he has 2 doubles. 1 to right center field in the 1st inning, and 1 to straightaway center field over the head of the center fielder, Jaden Talt, in the 6th inning. And the next batter, Christian LaPierre, swing and a miss, strike 1.
21.
And Brett looking over at second base. Time out by Christian. And because this game was moved to a Saturday, we have a lot of family and friends and a lot of people from both high schools coming to attend the game. And because of how this field is made, we have some parents that have stationed lawn chairs right in the first, right on both foul lines. And the 0-1 pitch, a ground ball to the second baseman, Ben Hansen. And throws the first again for the first out. Here's Theron Perkins, who is 1 for 2 with a 2-run triple back in the first inning, and he has a chance to knock in the game-tying run here. And Brett looking over at second base. The first pitch. Strike one looking right down the middle. As for both Cascade and Lake Stevens on the left field and right field foul lines, right across from their parents sitting in lawn chairs. Line drive ball. That one. It'll be a line drive ball right near the right field line that is snagged by the first baseman Brock Gillis. Right near the line, and it is an amazing play by the sophomore first baseman. He dives right near the line, makes the catch. If he didn't make it, game would have been tied. Here's Will Wentz, strike one looking. And Wentz, he is 0 for 2 with a strikeout and a fly out to center field. Brett looking over at second. Sway gonna miss strike two.
Let's go, William.
And Brett getting the sign from Clem looking over at second, and the 0-2. Hard hit ball. This one going into short right field. Bardew's riding around third. The throw to the plate to Clem will be offline, and the game is tied at 3. It'll be an RBI single by Will Wentz. And the Vikings have tied this game up at 3 apiece. Connor with an awkward slide to home plate as he didn't know where the ball was going to land. Didn't know where Clem was going to get the ball, but there's no matter. As we heard at the top of the 6th inning, game is tied at 3, and Justin Troya, Lake Stevens starter, will now get a no decision. Here is Bryce Mefford, first pitch, upstairs, ball 1. And the 1-0, strike one looking.
Let's go, Bryce. You go 1-5.
And Cascade. Brett Gillis, the 1-1 swing and a miss. Strike two. If there were a couple of batters that Brett Gillis has completely controlled, one of them has especially been Gillis. Wentz trying to steal second base to no avail. Will is trying to pull off what Brett Gillis did back on Wednesday and try to steal second without the pitcher even throwing the baseball. This time it fails, and it will end the top of the 6th inning as Gillis throws to the shortstop Carson Metcalf with ease. That will end the top of the 6th inning. Lake Stevens ties the game, 1 run on 2 hits, no errors, and nobody left on. As the game is now tied at 3 as we go into the bottom of the 6th inning. Jacob Gordon on the mound facing off against Zach Gill, Sam Barnes, and Ben Hansen. Again, those 3 hitters, they have been responsible for all 3 Cascade runs. Let's see, with a new pitcher on the mound, if Lake Stevens can prevent any more traction from the Bruins hitting staff. And we are now back into the bottom of the 6th inning. Lake Stevens, they have tied this game up at 3. With Jacob Gordon back on the mound facing off against the 7-hitter Zach Gill. First pitch of ball 1.
Okay. That's fine.
Next pitch going inside for a ball 2. Zach Gill, he has scored on both times he has been up at the plate. He hit a double in the 2nd inning and scored the only run there. And in the 4th inning, he got on base on an error by Connor Bardew and later scored there. The 2-0 pitch. Foul ball going over the fence. 2 balls, 1 strike. And Jacob, the 2-1. Swing and a miss, strike 2. And the 2-2 by Jacob. Outside, ball 3. Now, one thing that Josh White can do that I don't know if he's going to do, I doubt he's going to do, but I think he has an opportunity for it. 2-2 pitch, grounder, going right near the bag to Connor, 1-hopper, and it gets past the glove of the first baseman Will Wentz, and it'll get past the fence. And Zach Gill once again is on base on another error. By Connor Bardew, and Stephen Maynard will be pitch running for Zach here in the 6th inning. As Maynard will be pitch running. First he was pitch running for Brett back in the 1st inning. He'll now be pitch running for Zach here in the 6th. Here's Sam Barnes, who has flown out to the right fielder Tanner Lind in both of his at-bats. Jacob looking over at second base. First pitch. Strike one looking. A nice pitch by Jacob using the curveball around the outside part of the strike zone to Sam Barnes, who coming into this game statistically has been the team leader, but hasn't really done much ever since then. And the 0-1 pitch, the ball gets away from the catcher Trey Long, and Stephen Maynard stays at second base. Now, one thing that Josh White can do, even though it's been a while, that he can put Will Wentz on in relief. It's been a few days. He has thrown, thrown 76 pitches, so it gives him. This is his first day back. This one getting away from Trey. Hits the backstop. Maynard goes to third. And Cascade has the game-leading run at third base. And timeout by Lake Stevens. Josh White going to the mound.
Are you good?
Along with Trey Long and the entire infield, with Maynard now at third base. It'll be the count, 2 balls and 1 strike, and they're going to bring in number 28, Tate Brust, who will be the new pitcher here in the 6th inning. We'll take a quick break here. Game tied at 3, runner at third for Cascade with nobody out. And with Tate Brust now facing off against the right fielder, Sam Barnes, on a 2-1 count. And we are now back at the bottom of the 6th inning. So it'll be as Cascade is tied with Lake Stevens 3-3 and is currently threatening to take the lead. As Lake Stevens brings in a new pitcher, Tate Brust. The first pitch is low for a ball 3 against Sam Barnes. Tate Brust, no runs, with an ERA of 0, no wins and no losses. Has thrown 3 innings, allowing 4 hits. And the 2-2 pitch hit the top part of the strike zone. Strike 3 called. That is a huge strikeout by Tate Brust. Josh White bringing him in to replace Jacob Gordon. Brings in Ben Hansen. First pitch is a strike 1 looking. And the next pitch low for a ball 1. 1 ball, 1 strike. Currently Jacob Gordon, inning at a third. No hits, currently no earned runs, but he is responsible for Maynard at third. 1 walk and no strikeouts on 28 pitches. This one going low for a ball. Throw home, did he get him at home plate? Yes, he did! Trey Long with the throw to Tate Brust at home plate. There we go! And it ends the threat. It ends the threat at home plate. And an amazing heads-up throw by Trey Long. He tosses it to Tate Brust, who looked like he falls right in front of home plate. And he tags Stephen Maynard, and it ends the threat. That is easily one of the best plays of the year by Lake Stevens so far. Especially considering the situation and the circumstance, that is amazing. Now count as a ball though, 2 balls and 1 strike. And the 2-1. And a ball 3. And Tate the 3-1. And it goes low for a ball 4. And with Tate Brust on the mound, it is turned from nobody out and runner on third to two Cascade Bruins out and a runner on first. As the immediate threat that Cascade was putting on Lake Stevens is over, but it doesn't mean that the inning is over. Brings up the 9-hitter Carson Metcalf. Throw to first, not in time. Jacob Gordon now will get a no decision. This will be Justin Troya, Jacob Gordon. They'll both get a no decision. Going into this game, first pitch upstairs for a ball 1. It's Tate Brust, no wins and no losses with an ERA of 0. Timeout by Lake Stevens. Trey Long going to talk to Tate on the mound. As Tate has thrown 3 innings, has allowed no earned runs, has allowed 4 hits, has walked 2 batters, and has not struck out anybody coming in to this game. It has just struck out his first batter in Sam Barnes. It was a huge strikeout. The play at home was a huge play at home, but it doesn't mean that the Vikings are out of the woods yet. 1 ball and no strikes and a 9-hitter Carson Metcalf. He is 0 for 2 with a fly ball to center and a ground ball to third. The 0-1, or the 1-0 goes outside for a ball 2. Trey looking over at Ben Hansen at first base. There is action currently in the bullpen for Cascade. Timeout by Lake Stevens. As Josh White talking to Trey Long and Tate Brust with Connor Bardew watching in the distance, right next to the mound. If I'm David Benson, the manager for the Cascade Bruins, I have a choice here when this inning is over, regardless if my team takes the lead. Do I start Brett Gillis in the 7th inning, or do I put in a relief pitcher? Because that's the decision that will probably change the face of this game right now if Cascade does not score. 2-0, hard hit ball in the left field. Back goes Ben. Ben is under it. Ben makes a catch, and that will end the 6th inning. An unbelievable 6th inning defensively by Lake Stevens. That includes a play at home plate. No runs, no hits, 1 error, and 1 runner left on. Still tied at 3 as we go into the 7th inning. As you'll see if Brett Gillis will go on the mound once again. He will in the top of the 7th inning. He'll face the bottom 3 hitters of Bryce Mefford, Tanner Lind, and Hunter Zalesko in the 7th inning, as the game is still tied at 3. And we are now back in the top of the 7th inning after Lake Stevens prevents Cascade taking a 4-3 lead and is still tied at 3 with Brett Gillis. Face off against Bryce Mefford. First pitch of ball 1. And the next pitch, swing and a miss, strike 1. And the 1-1, swing and a miss, strike 2.
Right here, buddy.
If there were any number of hitters that Brett Gillis has been able to control all game, it has been the bottom 3 hitters. They have not gotten a hit off of them. And the 1-2 pitch goes upstairs for a ball 2. Checking with the umpire along the first base line. Check see if he went. He did not go. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Brett Gillis, the throw. Check swing. Did he go? Yes, he did. Goes upstairs again.
Go 2-0 right here, bud.
But Bryce went a little too close there and swung a little too far. As it'll be a swing and a miss, strike 3. Here is Tanner Lind, the right fielder, who is 0 for 2. And the first pitch outside, ball 1. Brett Gillis in the 6th inning that tied the game at 3. 2 balls, 11 strikes, and 13 pitches. And the 1-0 line drive ball. This one going to the second baseman. Ben Hansen, who bobbles the ball and is not able to throw it to first in time. It'll be an error, the 3rd error for Cascade. This one off the second baseman, Ben Hansen. And for a pretty good game, a pretty close game, this one has also been pretty sloppy as well. 3 errors. 3 errors for Cascade, 4 errors for Lake Stevens. And it's clearly been one of the main factors of why this game has been so close. Next batter is the second baseman, Hunter Zalesko, low for a ball 1. It's the first time any of the outside hitters have been, any of the bottom 3 hitters have been on base. Next pitch, outside, ball 2. Is 2 balls, 11 strikes, and 13 pitches for a total of 22 balls, 59 strikes, and 81 pitches through 6 innings. Ground ball going into the glove of the third baseman. Throw to second. Throw to first. It's in time as it goes around the horn for a 5-4-3 double play. And it will end the top of the 7th inning. No runs, no hits, 1 error, and nobody left on to end the 7th inning. Game is still tied at 3. Cascade on position to walk it off against Tate Brust as the top 3 hitters will come to the plate. Jaden Talt, Nicholas Kleb, and Brett Gillis in the bottom of the 7th inning. Game still tied at 3. And we are now back. We are at the bottom of the 7th inning. The game is tied at 3 apiece. Cascade with an opportunity to walk it off here against Tate Brust. This will be the leadoff hitter, Jaden Talt, coming to the plate. First pitch, a strike 1 looking. As Tate Brust in his, you could say, yeah, full inning of work. The 0-1 pitch outside for a ball 1. You could say it is in his inning of work. He's thrown 7 balls and 3 strikes for 10 pitches as in the inning. This one, a hard hit ball going in the left center. This one might fall. Going to Ben. This will fall. Jaden Talt going to second. The throw to second base. Did he get him? No, he didn't. Hunter Zalesko dropped the ball. Zalesko had the ball in his glove, but when he had an impact with Jaden, it got out of his glove. He didn't have a firm grip in it, a grip of the ball in the glove, and Cascade now has the game-winning run in scoring position. Here is Nicholas Kleb, and they're going to intentionally walk Nicholas Kleb. And they're going to bring in Brett Gillis, who is 0 for 2. They'll bring in Brett Gillis. A chance to contribute to his own cause here as he has thrown 7 innings. And has a chance to win it for Cascade and to get him to be the winning pitcher. First pitch, strike 1 looking. And it'll be a new pitcher. It's number 16, Devin McWaters. He was the losing pitcher in Wednesday's game. Next pitch, a foul ball, an 0-2 count. As it'll be a new pitcher for Lake Stevens in the 7th inning. It'll be number 16, Devin McWaters. He was the losing pitcher in Wednesday's game as he allowed the second run to score in the 7th inning. The 0-2 pitch goes low in the dirt for a ball 3. And the 1-2, 1 hopper to Trey. Runners don't go. 2 balls and 2 strikes. Devin McWaters, he is he is 0-2. And the 2-2 chopper This one going to the second baseman, Zalesko, and Zalesko bobbles the baseball, and Cascade has the bases loaded. Zalesko is trying to get away with the umpire that was right in front of the second base bag and right behind the mound, and Zalesko couldn't handle the ball. And that is error number 5 on Lake Stevens today, and it'll bring up Jacob Sesso with a chance to be a walk-off hero for Cascade. And a timeout by Lake Stevens. Josh White, Trey Long, and the entire infield going to the mound once again. We'll take a quick break here. Bottom of the 7th inning, bases loaded. Devin McWaters facing Jacob Sesso. And we are now back into the bottom of the 7th inning. Devin McWaters not in a pretty good scenario right now. Bases loaded, nobody out. Game tied at 3. Jacob Sesso, first pitch, a strike 1 looking. And the 0-1 to Devin. Low for a ball 1. Trey with a nice block, and it keeps all the runners in place. And the 1-1 by Devin. Line drive ball going straight to Theron. Throw home for 1, and it'll be a fielder's choice as they'll get Jaden Talnut at home. And a nice job by Josh White telling the infield to go in. There'll be a fielder's choice, and that's 1 out. And a nice job by Lake Stevens to get the first guy out. Trey Long not able to throw to first to get Jacob Sesso. And here is Brock Gillis, who is 0 for 3. First pitch by Devin. Outside, ball 1. And the 1-0. And Brock Gillis is hit on the side. Cascade will win the game. Brock Gillis is hurt, but he will walk to first base. He'll touch the first base bag, and the Cascade Bruins will mob Brock Gillis on first base as Cascade once again rallies from a 1-run deficit to beat the Lake Stevens Vikings. Brock Gillis, that is something David Benson's going to look at, because Brock Gillis, he got, the right-handed hitter Brock Gillis, he got hit on the side and had immediate discomfort afterwards. Had immediate discomfort. And the good news is that both these teams are not going to be playing until next week. So, you know, David Benson, the manager for Cascade, is going to have to look at that. But with that out of the way, the final score, Cascade 4, Lake Stevens 3. Cascade walks it off of Devin McWaters. The winning pitcher, Brett Gillis, he is undefeated at 2-0. And the losing pitcher is Devin McWaters, who is now down to 0-3 for the sophomore. It's a very ugly way to win, but anything for a team to win a ball game. The Cascade Bruins will be playing their next game on April 4th against the Glacier Peak Grizzlies here at Cascade High School, while the Lake Stevens Vikings will be playing on the road once again here in the city of Everett, Washington, against the Mariner Marauders, who are also trying to search for their first conference win of the season. My name is Payne Patchett. You've been listening to Lake Stevens Vikings Varsity Baseball, and we will see you on Wednesday, April 4th, 2018.